My name is Mary Ellen Googoo, and I'm an elder here at Jodoin College at the Cape Breton University. As an elder here, there's a contingent of Native students here, Mi'kmaq students, so I'm here for them as a role model, also as a helper to them, and like a guide for them. I do. I work with them. I talk to them, and I'm here to hear their problems, and I'm also here um, to do academic, to help them with their academic work. I can proofread for them. I help them find resources. If I can't help them, I find people who can help them. I also do, sometimes the professors will ask me to come in and have a talk in their class, and I will do that. There's a lot of things going on, so I'm involved in a lot of things here and in general in the university. Well, I hope that they're impacted positively by me, by my being here. Um, I am well educated, and I'm a former teacher. I retired from this university about 15 years ago as the director of, it was then called MCI, Mi'kmaq College Institute. So I retired from here as a director of this university, as a director of this part. And so I'm hoping that they look at me as an academic, and I hope I'm helping them with their work. I'm hoping that they grow as a result of my being here, that I give them guidance to further. I'm always talking about education, how important it is. I graduated with my special education degree from Acadia University, with my BEd from University of New Brunswick, and also from here in curriculum development. I got a diploma from here for that. I've been teaching for a long time. I was teaching in Eskasoni, where I'm originally from, and then I got a job in the high schools in the city, with the Cape Breton Victoria Regional School Board. And I worked as a classroom consultant, also as a teacher, until I came here to do work as a director for MCI. So I have my master's in education, and I also was given an honorary degree, a doctorate degree from here. Um, so I feel that I'm hoping that um, they ascribe, is that the right word? Ascribe to further their educational goals and to be just like me, help out with our people. When I was here 13 years ago, I found that the young people coming from high school were not really prepared for university. Um, I don't know how to put it, like I was teaching at a high school at that time. Before I came here, I was teaching in a high school in Sydney, and I found that their skills in English, especially, weren't up to par. So I ended up doing a lot of tutoring with them, tutoring English language skills. I'm a strong proponent of our own language, a strong advocate. As a matter of fact, throughout my teaching career, I've always um, I've always felt that Mi'kmaq language, is very, very important to me. But I also, because they were going to schools, in town, they had to learn English as well and be good at it in order to succeed. And so anyway, when I was teaching at Holy Angels High School, which was a high school designed for girls, it's no more. It's not there now. But at the time I was working, I and at Sydney Academy, I was going to the two schools. I brought the Mi'kmaq language program into the high school system. The people from Halifax, from the education system, came to see me, and we incorporated in the in what was it called now? Um, I think it was PSP program of, or maybe it was PSP. I'm not sure. It was a long time ago. Anyway, it's now listed in the social programs in Halifax as an academic course, grade 10, 11, and 12, and I taught it to the English and to the natives and non-natives at the high schools in at Sydney Academy and at the three high schools that were here in Sydney. So now anybody, as long as we have a teacher and enough students registered in that program, they can take that language program in schools. So like I say, I've always been, like I say, a strong proponent of our language. And right now we don't want to lose our language. It's, we've been under contact for a long time, but we still have our cultural items through our language. So that's very, very important to me. It should be important to all Aboriginal nations, to all, yeah, I'd say unknown nations from coast to coast. Because we cannot go back to Scotland or England or wherever, Germany, for our language. This is our homeland. To me, Indigenous education is all about Indigenous peoples all over the world, not just North American Indians like we are, but I think Indigenous people in Hawaii, in Cuba, everywhere, like where there's people of their original territories. That's who I see as Indigenous peoples. My dream has always been a university in our own First Nation communities, implemented in our own territories. A university that has native, when I say native, I mean Indigenous peoples as with their doctorates, teaching our own people the language and also about our people and also about the world, education in general, about everything in the world, like other peoples in the world, but people trained in our own education system. That would be the ideal. But of course, our children have to know about the world and worldviews of other people, and know about the world in general. We want to know. We want our children to be knowledge keepers of our own people first, of their own people first and foremost, but also a knowledge keeper also of what's going on in the whole universe, in the whole world, in the whole in all the different countries in the world. We want them to know as scholars, as you know what I mean? Yeah, to be scholars of knowledge in our own communities, in our own of our own people, and also the outside world. I think we need resources, human and material resources. We need both. I think we need a lot of our people to be educated and to be able to teach in universities and other school and even schools, high schools, and as they are now. We're lucky to have teachers now in this age, but we want people to be good enough to or smart enough for academically to be academically strong to be able to teach, to have good education to teach at the university level and possibly post, if it's possible, post secondary and even after that. Well, I'm a lifelong learner. I find people are lifelong learners and we never stop learning. So once they're educated, they still have a lot more to learn. We never stop learning. And the resources, I'll tell you, once I worked in a high school where I was put in a classroom with the French teacher, and my courses were of also academic courses in geography, and I taught other courses like ethics 12 and English. I even taught English at the end, general English for students, from our students and non-English students. But I think they put me in this class for language, for me, my language 10, 11, and 12, with the French teacher. And I looked at her classroom, it was off full of textbooks in French, workbooks in French, tapes and videos and everything in French, while I had to make my own curriculum materials. And it's a good thing I have a curriculum, a curriculum making, what do you call it, a curriculum development degree, not degree, well, I have that too, but I have a diploma just for that curriculum development. When I got the job in town, I knew I was going to develop curriculum of my own. We were part of, few teachers and myself were part of developing a curriculum for Mi'kmaq Studies 10, which was implemented way back in the high schools. And I think now it's a Mi'kmaq Studies 11, I'm not sure. But I was hoping we would have every high school, in high school you have to get a credit which is mandatory, and that's global studies credit in geography or in history. And I was always wanting a global studies course offered in high school, which would be like an indigenous indigenous studies course in global history or global geography, a global studies course anyway in indigenous studies, which would be more to me. It would, you could use all the tenets and all the goals, or what do you call them, things that the department wants us to get. My head is just getting older, my brain, but we could have the goals, outcome goals, or I forget the name, outcomes that they require. We could still incorporate all the skills they require, the vocabulary, the whatever required in every course in high school. We could still incorporate all that skill development in an indigenous course, just as much as we do in history or in geography. But those two courses are mandatory for graduation. I'd like to say, this Unamagi College gives a lot of support to our students. So it's really very important for our children, for our students to come and see people that they can connect with, that they have a connection with, like Anne and Denny, who recruits and helps them, like myself, and like the other elder, Lawrence Wells. It's good for them to see presence of their own people, and they get lots of support here. They have me, they have Anne, they have, if they have any questions, even in terms of something that's personal to them. Because there are people, one time I gave an in-service to a school in Waikapa, Wegoma, and at the school there were native teachers and non-native teachers, and this is how intimate we are as Indigenous peoples. When I know you're Indigenous and I meet you, I'm really glad and I'll hug you, and because we have something in common. So the commonality is more in our Mi'kmaq world. I told one of the teachers there, a young teacher, I said, you are Mi'kmaq like me? I said, we're not best friends, are we? She said, no. I said, I'm a lot older than you. I know your grandparents and I know your parents. But as Mi'kmaq people, we're so very intimate. If I came on a Sunday morning, I had to go to Mass in church and I wore a dress and I needed a slip undergarment, would I be able to go to your mother, even though I'm not best friends with her as well, but I know her and I know her parents? Would I be able to go to that house and borrow a slip for the Mass? And she said, yeah, absolutely. That's how intimate we are as a culture. We can be ourselves with our own people. So here at this place, I feel that the students can come with any problem. They can say, I didn't eat for a couple of days, I haven't had anything to eat, and I can get something for them to eat. They can come to me and I won't think they're poor. You know what I mean? I understand the situation. If they come to me and say, gee, I went something personal and something sensitive, they can come to me or go to Anne, because we have all been there. We've all been experienced what they're experiencing. So that makes us a very, that makes this place a good place for our students when they have their own. They couldn't possibly go to a professor and say the same thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you're coming from that kind of background, but that's where we come from. We're from the rest, as young people put it nowadays. You're from the rest. Don't talk like you're from the rest. Yeah, that's about it. Well, and they get a lot of help. If there's anything that they don't want to confront the professor with, they can ask anybody here to, not any of the native people here to, I mean Mi'kmaq people here, to go with them. And as a matter of fact, I did that last year, and the girl is a teacher now. She graduated. She wasn't about to because she had me go with her to see the professor, and just being there with her, she was able to explain to her what happened and why she should have her grade reassessed. Yeah. So there's a lot of support here, a lot of love. We love our students, and they know that, and they tell us they love us. And that's very important in our culture.